Welcome to Mrs. V's Reading Corner, where you can enjoy books for educational, fun, or even bedtime stories. Please take the time to like this video, comment below with how you enjoyed it, book suggestions, and more. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to get all the new books that I post first. How Tia Lola Came to Visit. No, Stay by Julia Alvarez. Miguel and Juanita have moved to a rented farmhouse in Vermont with their mother, Mommy. Their father, an artist, has stayed in New York. Tia Lola, Mommy's aunt from the Dominican Republic, has come to visit. But some of the ideas she has brought along are a little different and not always to the liking of Miguel or the family's landlord, Colonel Charlie Boy. The long, sweet, sunny days of summer came one after another. Each one is like a piece of fancy candy in a gold and blue wrapper. Most nights, now that school is out, Tia Lola tells stories, sometimes until very late. The uncle who fell in love with a ciguapa and never married. The beautiful cousin who never cut her hair and carried it around in a wheelbarrow. The grandfather whose eyes turned blue when he saw his first grandchild. Some nights, for a break, they explored the old house. In the attic, behind their own boxes, they found dusty trunks full of yellowing letters and photographs. Miguel discovered several faded photos of a group of boys all lined up in old-fashioned baseball uniforms. Except for the funny caps and knickers and knee socks, the boys in the photos could be any of the boys on Miguel's team. One photo of a boy with a baseball glove in his hand is inscribed, Charlebois, year 34. Miguel tries to imagine the grouchy old man at Rudy's restaurant as the young boy with the friendly smile in the photograph, but he can't see even a faint resemblance. Since the team doesn't have a good place for daily practice, Miguel's mother suggested they use the back pasture behind the house. But let me write Colonel Charlie Broad first, just in case. Their landlord lives in a big white house in the center of town. He has already written them once this summer, complaining about the unseemly shape of the vegetarian. After Tia Lola trimmed the hedges in front of the house in the shapes of pineapples and parrots and palm trees. Can't you just call him and ask him, Mommy? Miguel asks. After all, the team is impatient to get started with practice. A letter will take several days to be answered. You try calling him, Miguel's mother says, holding out the phone. Miguel dials the number his mother reads from a card tacked on the kitchen bulletin board. The phone rings once, twice, a machine clicks on, and a crackling old voice speaks up. This is Colonel Charles Charlebois. I can't be bothered coming to the phone every time it rings. If you have a message, you can write me at 27 Main Street, Middlebury, Vermont, 05753. Let's write that letter, shall we? Mommy says, taking the phone back from Miguel. 2 days later, Colonel Charlebois' answer is in their mailbox. It has not been postmarked. He must have driven out and delivered it himself. I would be honored to have the team practice in my back pasture, he replies in a shaky hand as if he'd written the letter while driving in a car over a bumpy road. Honored? Miguel's mother says, lifting her eyebrows. She translates the letter for Tia Lola, who merely nods as if she'd known all along that Colonel Charlebois is really a nice man. And so every day, Miguel's friends come over, and the team plays ball in the backfield where only 6 months ago, Miguel, or maybe it was the Siguapas, wrote a great big welcome to Tia Lola. Twice a week, Rudy drops by to coach. They play all afternoon, and afterward, when they are hot and sweaty, Tia Lola invites them inside for cool, refreshing smoothies, which she calls Frio Frios. As they slurp and lick, she practices her English by telling them wonderful stories about Dominican baseball players like Sammy Sosa and the Aloud brothers, and Juan Merkel, and Pedro, and Ramon Martinez. The way she tells the stories is as if she knew these players personally. Miguel and his friends are enthralled. After a couple of weeks of practice, the team votes to make Miguel the captain. Jose, who is visiting from New York, substitutes for whoever is missing that day. Tia Lola is named manager. ¿Why qué hace el manager? Tia Lola wants to know what a manager does. A manager make us Frio Frios, Captain Miguel says. Every day after practice, there are Frio Frios in a tall pitcher in the icebox. It is a happy summer until Tia Lola decides to paint the house purple. Miguel and his friends have been playing ball in the backfield, their view of the house shielded by the amp trees. As they walk back from practice, they look up. Holy cow! Miguel cries out. The front porch is the color of a bright bruise. Miguel can't help thinking of the deep, rich purple whose name he recently learned from his father in New York, dioxazine. He mutters to himself. The rest of the house is still the same color as almost every other house in town. Regulation white. Poppy calls it whenever he comes up to visit and drives through town. In her high heels and a dress with flowers whose petals match the color of the porch stands Tia Lola, painting broad purple strokes. For a brief second, Miguel feels a flash of that old embarrassment he used to feel about his crazy aunt. Awesome, his friend Dean is saying. Cool, Sam agrees. Okay, cool, Jose echoes. They wave at Tia Lola, who waves back. Frio Frios, she calls out. Today she has chosen grape flavor in honor of the new color of the house. By the time Miguel's mother comes home from work, he and his friends look like they had helped Tia Lola paint the house. Their mouths are purple smudges. When they open their mouths to say hello, their tongues are a pinkish purple. Okay, what's going on? Mommy asks, glancing from Miguel to Tia Lola. She looks as if she is about to cry, something she has not done in a long time. Tia Lola speaks up. Don't the colors remind her of the island? La Casita de tu Niñez? The house where Mommy spent her childhood. Miguel can see his mother's face softening. Her eyes have a faraway look. Suddenly, Mommy is shaking her head and trying not to laugh. Colonel Charlebois is going to throw a fit. Actually, he's going to throw us out. El Cano no hay problema, Tia Lola said, pointing to herself and Miguel and his friends. Miguel's mother looks from face to face as if she doesn't understand. Miguel and his friends nod as if they understand exactly what Tia Lola is up to. The next afternoon, when Miguel's friends came inside from practice, Tia Lola takes their measurements. She has brought fabric with the money the team has collected and is making them their uniforms. When it is Miguel's turn, he stands next to the mark that his mother made on the doorframe back in January. He is already an inch taller. Tia Lola, what are you up to? The team keeps asking. Are we going to lose our playing field and Colonel Charlebois takes back his house? No hay problemo, Tia Lola keeps saying. Her mouth curls up like a fish hook that has caught a big smile. Are you going to work magic on him? Miguel asks his aunt that night. The magic of understanding, Tia Lola says, winking. She can look into a face and see straight to the heart. She looks into Miguel's eyes and smiles her special smile. As the house painting continues, several neighbors call. What's happening to your house? Farmer Tom asks Miguel. I don't believe I've ever seen a purple house. Is that a New York style or something? Their farming neighbors think of New York as a foreign country. Whenever Miguel and his family do something odd, Tom and Becky believe it is due to their having come from the city. I've never seen a purple house in my life, Miguel admits. Neither have I, Jose adds, and I live in the city. I've seen one, Juanita speaks up, showing off. Where? Miguel challenges. In my imagination, she grins. Miguel has been trying to imitate Tia Lola, looking for the best in people. He stares straight into Juanita's eyes, but all he can see is his smart aleck little sister. One afternoon, soon as Jose has returned to the city, Miguel is coming down the stairs to join his teammates in the backfield. He pauses at the landing. The large window affords a view of the surrounding farms and the quaint New England town beyond. A silver car Miguel doesn't recognize is coming down the dirt road to their house. Just before arriving at the farmhouse, it turns into an old logging road at the back of their property. Behind a clump of ash trees, the car stops and the door opens. Later, as he stands to bat, Miguel could make out a glint of silver among the trees. Who could it be? He wonders. He thinks of telling his mother about the stranger, but he decides against it. She would probably think an escaped convict was lurking in the woods and not allow the team to practice in the backfield anymore. The next afternoon, Miguel watches from behind the curtain as the same silver car he saw in the woods yesterday comes slowly up the drive. His friends have already left after their baseball practice, and his mother is not home from work yet. He could hear Tia Lola's sewing machine humming away upstairs. Who is it? Juanita is standing beside him, holding onto her brother's arm. All her smart aleck confidence is gone. I think it's him, Colonel Charlebois, Miguel whispers. Now that the car is so close, he can make out the old man behind the wheel. The hood has a striking ornament, a little silver batter crouched ready to swing. I'm ready to pretend no one is home, Miguel adds, but Colonel Charlebois doesn't come up to the door. He sits in his car, gazing up at the purple and white house for a few minutes, and then he drives away. Later that day, a letter appears in the mailbox. Unless the house is back to its original white by the end of the month, you are welcome to move out. Welcome to move out, Miguel repeats. Bienvenida to his Tia Lola when she moved in. It doesn't sound right to welcome someone to move out. We've got 3 weeks to paint the house back or move, their mother says in a teary voice at dinner. I'm disappointed too, she admits to Tia Lola. After all, she really loves the new color. That flaky white paint made the place look so bourgeois and run down. But still, I don't want to have to move again, Mommy sighs. Tia Lola pats her niece's head. There is something else they can try first. What's that? Her niece asks. They can invite El Carnal over on Saturday. But that's the day of our big game, Miguel reminds his aunt. They'll be playing against another local team from the next county over. Tia Lola winks. She knows. Pero tengo un plan. She has a plan, Miguel. Miguel should tell his friends to come a little early so they can change. Change what? Miguel's mother asked. Change the color of the house? Tia Lola shakes her head. Change a hard heart. She'll need more grape juice from the store. The day dawns sunny and warm. The cloudless sky stretches on and on and on, endlessly blue with glints of an airplane like a needle sewing a tiny tear in it. Every tree seems filled to capacity with dark green rustling leaves. On the neighboring farms, the corn is as tall as the boys who play baseball in the fallow field nearby. Tia Lola's garden looks like one of Poppy's palettes. But now, after living in the country for 7 months, Miguel has his own new names for colors. Zucchini green, squash yellow, chili pepper red, raspberry crimson. The eggplants are as purple as the newly painted house. It is full of summer. In a few weeks, up in the mountains, the maples will begin to turn. Miguel's friends and their parents arrive early. The boys head upstairs behind Tia Lola and Rudy. Their parents stay downstairs, drinking grape smoothies and talking about how their gardens are doing. At last, the silver car rolls into the driveway. Slowly, Colonel Charlebois climbs out. He stands, a cane in one hand, looking up at the house. 1/4 of the house is purple. The other 3/4 is still white. Which color will the whole house end up being? Miguel looks down at the old man from an upstairs window. Suddenly, he feels a sense of panic. What if Tia Lola's plan doesn't work? He doesn't want to move from the house that has finally become a home to him. He feels his aunt's hand on his shoulder. No hay problema, Miguelito. She assures him as if she can read his thoughts even without looking into his eyes. Colonel Charlebois is still staring up at the house when the front door opens. Out file 9 boys in purple and white striped uniforms and purple baseball caps. They looked as if the house itself had sprouted them. Miguel leads the way, a baseball in his hand. Behind them, Tia, Lola, and Rudy each hold the corner of a pennant that reads, Charlie's Boys. Colonel Charlebois gazes at each boy. It is difficult to tell what is going through his mind. Suddenly, he drops his cane on the front lawn and calls out, Let's play ball! He stands wobbly and waiting and smiling. Miguel looks into the old man's eyes and sees a boy, legs apart, body bent forward, a gloved hand held out in front of him. He lifted his arm and threw the ball at the young boy, and the old man catches it. The end.